we are, Botch Wrestling Podcast 22, as I just had to confirm by unreleased footage. Daniel, we're back. I think this is the quickest we ever done a podcast. It's almost like we're trying to be actual professionals for once in our life, not degenerates. I don't know how I feel about it. It feels weird. I feel
Only been 4 days.
dirty. It kind of feels dirty to me. I don't know why. Maybe because it's outside our schedule. But real quick, I need to bring this up to your attention because I know you watched some other wrestling. WWE SmackDown 223 viewership remains above 2.2 million viewers for a taped episode. That's kind of crazy, no?
It's kind of crazy considering it was very easy to find out what happened on it.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, right? Like that's kind of nuts. Taped episode, and it's not promo of or manager of the year, booker of the year, setting off $100,000 fireworks for 35 people on the floor. Um, so WrestleNomics, our soon-to-be friend that's not a friend yet of the pod, February 23rd recorded 2.272 million viewers in the average viewership. This is down from February 16th episode of 2.555. Woohoo! Friday's show recorded a .62 rating in the 18 to 49. And it's pretty crazy that we're almost at the end of that demo, Dan. Holy hell. Down from... it's depressing, is what I meant to say. But down from the previous week of .75. So I'm guessing right off the bat you could run with the fact that .13 off the rating could just be people that tuned in for the pay-per-view, found out what was going to happen, and said, I'll catch up in a week, basically. Because that's usually what happens, right? Like, there's, like, would it drop off or would it be in pre-tape? People would just be like, oh, well, I'll spend the time this week on the pay-per-view. I'm not going to tune into everything. And according to TV series finale, I didn't even know that was a damn website, Dan. Did you?
TV series finale? No, I didn't.
Canceled and renewed TV shows. And all right, there goes my ADHD. February 23rd scored 2.16 million viewers in the prelim number. That's down from 2.44 million viewers in the prelim number. Interesting. And this was taped 1 week prior to talent traveling to Australia, where they all looked like they had the time of their life. Should we get into it now, Dan? Or did you want to complain about anything else before we get started?
I got nothing to complain about.
Oh, man. You must have that rhinovirus that's going around. So, the big event this week. And not all the spending that we were doing on the weekend. WWE Elimination Chamber, brother. And I'm being that in the good way, not the way that Hulk Hogan intends it to be. Right off the bat, I see them going back to Australia sooner than I think everybody wants to believe. That crowd was live for everything. The press conference, the pay-per-view, all the events looked like they were just crazy amount of chaos, No fights in the stands like there was at the last UFC pay-per-view event, so that's good. I'll let you start with this one. First off, out of 5, what do you give it?
4.
Okay. Before we jump into the individual patches, we'll go through everything. But what is the match that stole the card?
Match that stole the card.
If any.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say any match stole the card, but I think there's a person who stole the show. Yeah, I think there's a person who stole the show overall, but I don't know that there's any match that stole the show.
Really? Okay.
In my
Yeah. No, that makes
opinion.
sense.
Like, I thought they were decent enough matches. The chamber matches were good. They are what they are. The Judgment Day tag team match was fine. It served its purpose. And Rhea and Naya's match was good. It wasn't like this banger, but it was good for sure. But as far as like any stealing, I think Tiffany Stratton stole the show with her performance in the chamber. And oddly, I don't think that means the match stole, but I mean, I think she just really shined, and some people probably, you know, just maybe didn't expect it. And obviously, the crowd was really into it, with her,
Yes.
and pretty pissed when she got eliminated.
Yes.
So
that's Dan's way of telling me I was right. For the past 3 weeks, but I appreciate it, brother. That's why we run multiple businesses, multiple successful businesses. Yeah, and is there anything you were hoping to see that you did not get to see at the pay-per-view?
yeah, I wanted to see somehow Roman and Rock
Okay,
were
that's fine.
involved. Like even if it was a taped thing, we talked about that last week, right? Even if it was a taped promo or something. I mean, I was a little whatever that the Grayson Waller effect just wasn't what I expected it to be.
Yeah, that was kind of just to put him over, right? And then it kind of, or just to give him a
Yeah, I
boost,
mean,
and then, um,
it's possible it's setting something up, but they didn't. It just that's about all you got out of it,
yep,
right? Like
yep.
you got out that maybe Cody and Rock are gonna do something at some point, and whether or not that's before WrestleMania or at WrestleMania or after, we don't know yet. But that's all you got out of that, and like this idea that Seth's going to be cleared, which I think, I guess it's not that it's a surprise, but I guess it was just a question mark that was out there, like what is his status? So
So,
they obviously made it clear he's going to be able to wrestle.
okay, yeah, we could talk a bit on that in a few seconds. There's something I wanted to bring up about that because I think there's a way that could actually hurt how Drew is viewed overall. But you gave it a 4, correct?
Yeah.
You said okay. Yeah, I agree with it. I think it was a 4 out of 5. I think the card itself with the matches actually over delivered than what people were thinking going into it. I thought people, um, the rumors and everything that we saw and whatnot, I think we kind of all thought that the Grayson Waller effect might be the big thing of the pay per view, might be the big star moment that everybody was expecting. Um, don't get me wrong, like we do see good chamber matches year after year after year, but just what Rock and Roman and Cody and Seth, like we all expected that to be like the 4 that are gonna take this Mania card to new heights are gonna be standing right across from each other. Um, but I was thinking about it more today. Yes, we didn't get that. It doesn't bug me, but I can see why people would want it. But at the same time, I think it shows how strong WWE is at this time with them not being there. Um, I don't want to pat myself on the back for Tiffany Stratton since you already did, but yeah, I mean she's here to stay, right? She's the next one they push if anything happens. Like she has to be. Her and Jade, that's the future. I would have to say her, Jade, and Bianca. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I
um,
think so.
and it was good to see Liv get back on kind of that that revenge tour of hers, where you don't know if she's heel or she's just doing heel things, or she's back to crazy Liv, or she's back to the Liv that everybody loved when she had the title. I know a lot of people were pulling for her to win that chamber, but I mean, let's be honest. We called the final 3, and we knew Liv was not going to walk out of that chamber with their hand held high. You just kind of do that. This is probably, with all the talk this past year and Becky's book coming out of how her taking a lot more time off throughout the year for her kid has been more and more prevalent. It kind of feels like we might get to the time real soon where Becky's not an everyday star. Which isn't bad. She's put in her time, she's built her career, she's obviously first ballot Hall of Famer. She's one of the four that have changed women's wrestling in WWE forever. Without her, there is no Tiffany Stratton. Like, that has to happen for all these other women to come up. But yeah, so I was excited to see Tiffany do what I thought she could do. It's going to be great to see where they build from here on her. I wouldn't be surprised if she's on the Mania card for something, especially with 2 days of matches. Real quick, you know how I feel about tag matches as well. I thought Judgment Day versus the Catch Wrestling tag team was actually a lot better than I thought people were talking about on Twitter. They hit hard. It was quick. They knew when to pick it up. They knew when to slow it down. They knew when to build. I'm all for that Catch Wrestling tag team now. Like, that's the Pete Dunne that we thought we were gonna constantly see, and now the way that his style builds off of Tyler Bates and the way they can hit combos, it's the perfect. It's just
Right.
tell them to go in the ring, do what you do. We'll give you 15. Just put on a show. So I thought that was cool. I mean, this might. There was the women's tag match as well, correct?
Well, that was like a kickoff show.
Yeah, I'm okay if they skip that next
I
time.
didn't catch that match.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I didn't watch
You weren't
it.
up that early? Yeah. No,
it was over by the time I turned on Peacock, and
Yeah,
I didn't go back to watch it. I don't think it was like advertised.
No, but I don't think the Kabuki Warriors do anything with those tag titles. Just to have the fact that stable has another set of titles in there. That's pretty much it, right? Like, that's kind of what we're seeing with Judgment Day, which kind of stinks because, like, we were talking over the weekend how they should add, like, a TV title to the women's division. So for, like, the tag titles in the women's division to be the second best title, it's kind of crappy that they're on a tag team. People are like, okay, cool, I can sleep an extra 15 and catch it when the bell actually starts. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They can call it the Netflix title and make a big Netflix logo.
Oh, just a big N? But then don't draw an X through it.
A big red N.
No, yeah, but don't draw an X.
It's true.
So yeah, I don't know. I'll probably get killed for this if anybody listens to our podcast. I preferred the women's chamber over the men's, but I really liked how the men's chamber match ended. I was pumped on the tag team, and like you said, Tiffany Stratton stole the show. And I know your opinion was Rhea and Nia wasn't a banger, but it was as hard hitting as I expected, and I kind of loved it. So 2 out of the 3 top for me are women's matches. Like, they just brought it. Like, it's good to see them back. It's good to see them, hard hitting, like getting the time to show what they could do. I got very nervous when I saw Rhea come out there because you could tell she was crying. Like, the first, you know what I mean? Like, it just all hit her at once. So, like, I just kept telling my wife, I hope for no injuries. Because when you got that adrenaline rush and everything, it's very easy to overstep or twist inside, and all of a sudden you're out a year. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I mean, episode 21, we kind of said for this to be a success, it just has to continue down the road, right?
Yep.
Right. I know it didn't continue the story, but But
it's cemented one of two things: either we're getting a tag match with Seth and Cody and the Bloodline, or we're getting Cody versus The Rock. So I'm not ready to change our bet yet from last episode.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
But which is going to be risky because we're going to find out soon what they're doing, and probably not tonight. But they already announced The Rock for SmackDown,
of course.
So
his
we're
show.
going to get a response, and I'm going to decide before SmackDown if I want to change my vote that The Rock's going to face John Cena in the stead of Cody or Triple H, and I'm going to see if I want to switch to stick with the tag team or Cody and Roman. But that's risky because we might find out Friday. You just never know.
Yeah. So the thing I wanted to bring up about Drew, though, is I think this kind of hurts Drew. Now, let me get this out. He was the champion during COVID, right?
Yeah.
So people really didn't care, like, that Drew was champion. Like, it wasn't as big as it could have been because there's nobody there, right? It's all digital. People are turning in through TVs. People are turning in for the raffles to be on the screens, right? Like, that's all they saw. So for him to, once be fired, come back as the prodigy, build all the way up, have his shots, he gets so close, it falls apart. He finally gets to be the guy during, I don't know, the toughest time that this country have seen in a while. And, like, it means nothing. Like, it's big that wrestling's still on television, but it's just, there was nothing to it, right? Like, it was just, like, everything just felt bland. Because it's just, there was no one there. There was no reaction. There was no, like, anything. So now, I'm glad that Seth is supposed to be back. But his health concern is what bugs me. Because if he's 85%, right? Like, it's kind of like, alright. Because I have a feeling Drew takes the title. Because I think this might be the time where Seth takes time off. Because his back, his knee, his other foot or something. Like, he's been talking about, he's been talking about that his doctors and WWE doctors have both told him, like, your back is not going to heal what you're doing right now, with your limited exposure. Like, you need to be doing nothing. So, it's kind of like, Drew takes the title for him, but it's kind of like it has an asterisk next to it. You know what I mean? So once again, like, he doesn't get the full shine of... He's basically transformed who he's been, right? He's always been, like, the good guy that will come down the ring and help anybody out. Like, he had... I guess you could say, like, he had a certain code that, like, he operated by. He wasn't like a Dominic Mysterio or something that would cheat to find a way to win. He went in there, he put in the work, he did what he was supposed to do, right? Like, he came close handful of times. He should have beat Roman, but then got screwed. Like, so he should be the title higher than Seth right now, if that's the case. But, like, so you're kind of telling Drew, yeah, we'll put this title on you, but here's a Barry Bonds type asterisk with it. Good luck.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like... But then, like, we heard on... was it Busted Open this weekend we listened to? Yeah. So we heard the possible rumor. So what's your thoughts on this? Because I don't think I asked you when I saw you over the weekend. Seth drops to Drew. Seth is basically going to take his... After he becomes the shield for Cody, or whatever that means, he drops this Drew, say, Seth helps out Cody, Seth takes his time away to heal. All of a sudden you hear the Judgment Day music hit, and it's Damian coming down to cash in on Drew. Gives Drew the Razor's Edge 1, 2, 3. Damian has Seth's title. Like, if you're Drew, like, how do you... I get it's all about what they're probably going to pay him because they're still talking about contract. But, like, if you truly want a title, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at Mania, too. Like, this isn't even at, like, Backlash or SummerSlam. At Mania. Like, you're the person somebody cashes in on.
Yeah.
Would you be pissed?
Probably. I mean,
right?
Probably, but then again, too, if you got your bag in your contract, then whatever.
Yeah, that's true. But like when
to a degree, and in
no,
theory,
that's true.
They'd look at it as he's putting Damian over to give him a boost, and he's still semi-protected, and then
they could always go back to him.
They have a series, and they could have a series of matches, and maybe he takes it back off Damian at some point, right? Like, so there's a lot you could do there. Also, too, like, maybe that's just the plan in case they can't get a contract with them.
Yeah, but from everything we've been hearing in interviews and podcasts, it's all been positive. It's just they've been so busy with everything else. Because he's not dealing with Hunter anymore. He's dealing with Endeavor, right? So, like, he said the process is just a little bit different now.
But, I mean, that's all well and good, but everything was positive with Edge, too, and they just didn't get it done for whatever reason, right? Like, they didn't...
Yeah, but...
It was positive, but they didn't offer him what he wanted, or they offered him something and he just decided to do something else. Like,
Yeah, because he felt he could put that dying promotion on his back and make it something.
No, I don't think he thought that at all. I think he thought he could go have some fun.
Well, he probably wanted
best friend
one more title shot. And they're like, Edge, okay, if you gave Edge a contract, would you give him one more title run with all the talent that you have right now in WWE?
Probably not, but it just depends. I mean, you just never know. You never know, and that's what they say all the time.
Okay, let's go over it.
All it takes is CM Punk blowing out his elbow to completely change your plan.
That's fine. So we won't even count Punk. Would you give him a title run over Rock?
Over Rock, yes.
Ugh, Jesus. Well, no, you're.
I'm not giving Rock a title run right now.
Let's.
Plus, what's the point of giving Rock a title run?
Let's note who Dan just favored for. Happy month, everybody. Anyways.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So,
sure.
Not Rock. Would you keep it on Roman if you could continue to tell a good story over Edge?
Yes.
Okay. Would you put it on Cody over Edge?
Yes.
Would you put it on...
Well, and don't forget, though, we have 2 belts here, so...
I'm only talking about the big belt, because that's on Seth right now. Because I don't think Edge... I don't think Edge wanted that consolation prize. I think that's part of the problem.
I don't know how we know that he did or didn't, but that's fine.
Okay, here we go. Conspiracy Dan, everyone.
Conspiracy. You're the one saying he didn't want that belt. So you're the one.
You could hear it on all the podcasts that like he had a certain he wanted one big run. If you're thinking big run, are you going to go after the consolation prize?
Oh, now you agree
You're
with
not.
The consolation prize?
No, I'm just trying to get through this podcast without you having a PMS attack.
No, but hold on. Which is it? Is it a consolation prize or is it not?
I think based on how Edge described what he wanted to do in podcasts and interviews, I feel like the big title is what he was hinted at. Because he talked about he wanted to finish it the right way with the Big Bang.
Yeah.
So, alright, so you said you would... I don't think we got the answer before you started crying. Would you put it on Orton over Edge?
Yes, but then I would probably start a feud with the 2 of them, and then I'm not sure where that would go.
So, funny note, I would put it on Orton over Rock. because I want to see
Yeah.
Orton
Yeah.
get the record from Flair, because I'm just tired of Flair. He looks like the Tales of the Crypt.
I wanted to see Cena or Orton break
Yeah,
that record.
yeah,
Either or would be fine for
Yeah.
me. I think I'd prefer Randy, but
Yeah.
I'd be good if it was John.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing the Crypt Keeper just walk around in $5,000 suits. I mean, go back to your hole. Like, I'm just over it.
and I kind of feel like Cena deserves it. And then Randy.
Well, so that's what that's the other thing I was going to bring up, because that's part of your bout. But, so, just those, 4 or 5 right there, and then see if Cena somehow still gets back in the mix for all this. Would you put it on him over Edge?
Oh wow.
Because you said
probably. I know. Because I just said I want to see him beat the.
Well, and you just said like you feel like he deserves it, so it's kind of like, do you feel like Edge deserves it then as well, right?
I don't think that Edge deserves a run. I just think that there could have been opportunity to make it a good story. It's not that I feel like Edge deserves a run. My point is that I think with the right story it could work more so, right? And so like with these answers I've been giving, I'm answering them from a perspective of I feel a better story with Edge than The Rock, which is why I answered.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't feel a better story with Cody versus Edge for it right now. Right?
Okay.
And but Randy, I think I would give it to Randy first, and then I would let Edge chase him.
Okay.
Because they have such a history, right?
So,
they
do.
They've done that a couple of times, but they could do it one more time
for the goodbye in Toronto or something. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so like that's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I think it's a story.
Let me see here. I probably know the answers to this, but what about Gunther? Just to raise him up.
Yeah, that's
if he was done with the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, probably just because I think he's
I'm trying to
workhorse.
Yes, I'm trying to see here. Like I'm trying to write all these out so I know.
It's funny because I like Gunther, but I don't love Gunther, right?
Right.
I could take and leave him. I do want to see. I wanted to see Jey Uso beat him for the Intercontinental title. I just think it's stale on him. And
so there was the report he was supposed to. Did you see that?
Yeah.
But well, because we talked about it before, it's kind of like you putting the WWE Women's title on Nia now. Like, who goes and takes it from her right now, right? Like, that's what the Intercontinental title feels like right now. It kind of feels like Gunther's ran through everybody for over the last 15 months or so. I mean, what are you going to do? Bring up Braun? So Braun hits him with 3 spears? And then that's how you're doing it? So then we're telling a Goldberg-type story? Like, you know what I mean? So, okay, so you said yes to Cena, Orton, a no to Rock, and I'm sorry, what was your answer to Gunther?
I think I have to go with Gunther there.
Okay.
I think I do.
Those were the 5 we went through, right? I'm just making.
I don't love it, but I don't love it, but I think it makes more sense.
What about?
That's a real tough one.
What about if Seth had no injuries and he was back chasing Roman as the only one that could get into Roman's head again?
Yeah, I would put Seth. Ahead.
Okay.
For sure.
We said no Punk because of the injuries.
I mean, you can put Punk in.
No, that's fine. I'm just, from my own perspective, I'm just trying to keep track of who I actually think you could just plug in place. And I think that's pretty much it right now. Because I don't think you put Damian over Edge.
No, I wouldn't put Finn over Edge.
I wouldn't put Finn over Edge because we kind of already saw that when the Judgment Day ended, right? That part of the storyline, and that kind of ended kind of flat. So it's like,
and I wouldn't put Kevin or Sammy right now over Edge.
I would have put Sammy over Edge if this was the week after Quebec.
Oh yeah, well, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the bigger point is
Yeah.
that those things sometimes just organically develop in this industry, right?
Yeah.
Like a couple of things, actually I was just reading an article the other day about, and like somebody commented on it about how like Becky Lynch is only over because Nia Jax broke her nose, which I don't agree with, but she did go to another level after that broken nose deal.
Yeah, but it's what she did with it. She stood there in the crowd.
No, I 1,000%. But that's where something like that was like kind of unplanned and just happened, and they capitalized it. All of a sudden, propelled her to like Steve Austin popularity for a few months, right? And I'm just saying, like, that could catch fire with Edge or any of them, really. And I agree with you. Sammy, like, right before Quebec and right after Quebec, there was nobody higher in that company than Sammy. As far as
that right? Night, like, that crowd in Quebec has to be historic, top 5 of all time.
Oh, it was crazy.
Historic.
Crazy.
Right. Legendary at that point.
Right. So it's like,
yeah,
that just happened, right? Like,
it's all timing.
I mean, obviously, they had a good story with that, with him and being an honorary Oos and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he did so well with it. And then all of a sudden, like, it just took off with the turn. And you just never know when that'll happen with any of them, to be honest. But,
no, and I get that. It's all about timing, just like anything else in life. I get it. Side note: whoever wrote that article should let Nia punch them square in the face without pressing charges, and then we could see if their life also drastically changes as well. Because she stared in the camera.
It wasn't the article. It wasn't the article writer. It was someone who commented.
Yeah, but I'm just that person should allow Nia to punch him square in the face and see what happens. Oh, and when she took that 3 weeks ago on Raw and still finished the match 15 minutes later. And now I know if anybody pays attention to this podcast, I'm probably going to get crucified. Because all I'm talking about are the divas. But, like, you gotta think.
Who calls them that anymore, Jim?
Sorry, the WWE women superstars.
They're just superstars.
Well, they let it slip out on that after show a couple times. That's on Peacock. But she stood there in the camera and went like this with it. Anybody that could get your nose broken and go like this for it and still have a smile, nah, I'm not fighting them. I'm good. Like, I'll turn around and walk away. But yeah, I mean, so it's tough, right? Like, it's so you had Rhea defeated Nia to maintain. Should be interesting to see where we go from there. It's Becky and her now. I think Rhea just entered the stratosphere that those original 4 are in. And I don't think it's not just because of the Australia crowd. It's what she's been able to do with that title. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I know they say, like, the title usually doesn't make the person, but they've been saying for the past year that on Liv's title run, the title made her. And I don't agree with that, but you can't even come close to saying that for Rhea. She's been unstoppable. It's all been quality. You haven't had any dumb stuff where you're like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, they put her in charge of the Judgment Day. The first women to be in charge of a male stable, basically. In charge. Like, she's not the eye candy. She's the one that's smacking them all around. So, good for her. I'm glad. Hopefully that means we get an ultimate edition that I could add to my son's tote eventually, because that would be cool. Yeah, men's chamber match did what they were supposed to. As much as I hate Logan as a person, he did exactly what he was supposed to in there. He told everything the right way. He was great on his feet. Like, he translates well to what you want a crossover star to be, for sure. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so, but I still hate him as a person. They could have just skipped the Grayson Waller effect to me. It didn't really have anything.
No.
I'm glad. I'm glad to see the tag matches back. Was I gonna? There was something I wanted to bring up to you. Oh, and I kind of want to see Finn and Damien go against the Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
Like, because this has been their first test in a while, right? Like what they performed in this match. So like, let's just keep elevating those belts. Like, let's just keep elevating them, because then the more they elevated them, once they drop them, it's not gonna affect them at all. It's just gonna carry the next group up there. So let's just keep elevating those belts. I got a feeling we're not, because of Damien cashing in pretty soon. We both love the Chamber match, and we both didn't know there was a pre-match, so that's cool. But at least Candice gets paid to hang out with her best friend, so that has to be pretty cool for her and India. Yeah, I guess so. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? What would you have done with Rock and Roman showing up? Would it have been one or the other? Would it have been both of them? Would it have been Paul and Solo just walking out? What would you have done if you were in charge of the card? And Brian Garwood said, "Here, Dan, here's the Grayson Waller effect segment. Have fun."
I mean, if I had 100% control, I would have had their asses there, and they would have interrupted, and there could have been a little brawl or a standoff, a face-off, and some promo cutting back and forth. Like, I would have put them there, and I would have had them interrupt, whether it was a beatdown to be one up on the babies, like the baby faces or something. Um, if contractually they couldn't force them to be there, then yeah, I would have put, whether you did, I mean, I don't know, do a live video feed of them.
Well, that's what it. So that's what I wanted to ask you. If they couldn't be there and they did a live video or a pre-tape thing that they were just working off of in the ring, do you think that would affect anything the worser, or would that still cover what you wanted? So I guess it's
I would have.
It's a wraparound way of saying, would you want them in person 100%?
Yeah, I mean, basically
Okay.
100% I would. But I mean, like, my order would be in person, live video feed,
Okay.
taped promo, but taped promo to me would have been just barely a step above of what we got.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, but no, 100% I would have dragged their asses there, because this story will be better if they're constantly interacting in person. And that could be trading promos on shows, but they're there, right? Like, or a couple of, like, and even if it's, tonight, I read what Fightful has as the rundown and stuff, and I don't have it on right now, but Cody's ending the show in a match with Grayson Waller. Send Solo out there to screw with Cody again, like he did last week, but have The Rock and Roman standing at the top of the ramp, or at the end of the ramp, watching, directing it,
Yes.
whatever. Like, they don't even have to physically get involved, but they need to physically be there for it to make more to the story. I don't know if that'll happen, but that's something I could see. The bloodline, in my opinion, to build this even more and more, should be interfering with Seth and Cody from now on until WrestleMania, right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe it doesn't have to happen every single week, but they should be. And if the bloodline, if Jimmy and Solo are doing that, it needs to be Roman and Rock directing it and physically there to direct it, and not Paul or Roman and Rock on a video screen directing it.
Agreed.
My opinion.
So, weirdly enough that you brought up Raw, you got Imperium and Judgment Day in the ring right now. And it kind of looks like Damian Priest is taunting Gunther for a shot at the IC title tonight. Because they had their little screw up and now they're pushing each other, and now Damian tells them tonight for that title. I hope to God they don't have Judgment Day drop the tag titles to Imperium. That would lower those belts so much.
Yeah, I don't really see the point to that. And like I said, the Intercontinental thing to me is a little...
It's stale.
Is a little stale, so I don't know what they're gonna... I'm just wondering what they're doing here,
Well, side note, right now, New Day's walking out because they're having a street fight with Imperium. So that's a way to keep them relevant, I guess. There's something else I was going to ask you. Okay, so you want them there 100%. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I would want them there at 100% as too, but not having them there, I kind of... With how good the rest of the card was, I think the Grayson Waller effect didn't matter much to me, because then I figured we would see Rock and Roman right back on SmackDown this week, and then we'll be right back on track to telling the story. I get why people wanted them there. Obviously, the whole rumor we had about Australia being picked, and then Australia saying, we'll help you guys do everything here, but we want Rock here, had to be false now, because he didn't show up. Or, and poor R-Truth got confused, and he went to Austria, which, awesome. No, another, 5-minute R-Truth skit that was awesome. Awesome. So good for him.
Great.
Great. So hopefully he caught a flight back on time to get back to, the States. But, yeah. I mean, so what do you do on Friday then? Obviously, the Rock has to come out and answer Cody, right?
Yeah. And so my guess is that... Well, what do I do, or what do I think's going to happen?
Okay, yeah, we can play that game. So go with what do you do first?
What do you do, or what do I do? He answers it, and he probably plays tough guy, like anywhere, anytime, I'll beat your candy ass. All that stuff, right?
Talks crap to
No
the
where,
fans, yeah.
I'll beat your candy ass so hard your dad will feel it, right? Like that's
or your dad will turn over in his grave or something stupid like that. He'll say, yeah. Yep.
That's what I think I'd like to see, right? What I think we're gonna see is he probably plays a little bit of the chicken shit heel, in the sense of not 100% chicken shit, but like you don't dictate when I wrestle, right? Or you don't dictate who and when I fight. Like, I'm not fighting you. You're not worth it. Like, you got enough to handle with Roman coming up. You better prepare for, it's something like that. I think they drag it out a little bit more, and, then maybe you start to see Cody chasing Rock a little bit to prompt him to get into a match.
Do you see him using... So has Rock called himself to anything? Has Rock called himself the next High Chief or anything? Because I know certain sites have been referring to Reigns as the Tribal Chief and then The Rock as the High Chief. So I didn't know if I didn't catch that somewhere.
I've seen those reports. They haven't come from our guy, our favorite.
No, probably from Uncle Dave.
I haven't
Well,
I
he's
haven't heard of any of that.
okay.
I also don't know. I mean, that was never like tribal chief was something they said was like a thing. It was always like the guy who was the top of the business was the
Correct.
tribal chief. But high chief was just always Peter Maivia because he was the father of the beginning of it, right? Like, so I don't know that it would work if you go and say like,
I
well,
don't
now
think
the
it
high
will
chief
either.
is Rock.
Yeah, and I was so my thing is when he responds to Cody, like you said, I think he'll say that typical heel stuff. He'll say congratulations all the losers that are in the stands. You get to watch the great one tonight, and Cody, blah blah blah. I'll smack you around. Same stuff with the dad and whatnot, and then but I was wondering if he eventually lets it slip out where he calls himself the chief, or like just some title that like Roman takes like a second, uh, like what did you say? Like type response to it. Um, Also, side note again,
And
currently.
it weakens Roman also. Like, let's
Well,
not
that's what
forget,
I'm
right?
wondering.
Like,
That's what I'm wondering, right? Does like is that how they slowly set this up? Is like Rock starts referring to himself as something? And side note, Dom just bumped into Andrade, and now Andrade's on his phone. I don't want to see Dom versus Andrade. Please don't. Please don't waste Andrade that way. Don't do it. Um, yeah, okay. So that's what you think's gonna happen, right? You said correct.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
All right, let's go on to what if you were head writer Brian Jarowitz? What would you do? Ready, set, go. Let's go,
Oh,
Brian.
all right. That what I said that Rock should respond and say and accept it, and then the bloodline should be tormenting Cody from here to WrestleMania.
So, do you think we'll see this Rock and Cody thing before Mania? I don't, I don't see it.
No, I have a feeling they're gonna see it. It's gonna be if I'm gonna change my bet. If you made me change my bet today and said you only have till the end of the night, I would change my bet to Rock Cody night. Oh God, Rock Cody night one,
Yeah. See, but
and
that's
then
oh,
Cody Roman night two.
but then that puts The Rock as the first test, right? Like the last big test, right? That's what we're
But that
doing with
no
then.
the first. Well, but it's the last big test before Roman, which becomes the ultimate test.
Yeah. Well,
That's how I
can
see
he
it. So
get it done after this? Yes.
right.
So I see that. Well, once again, This is where I'm personally torn because if they do a tag match on that night one, I think that knocks Drew down a couple pegs on night two. Yes, he would be the good company guy, whatever, blah blah blah. But like, Seth gets done on a partially fixed leg and then has to wrestle night two and drops to Drew. It's kind of like, congrats, Drew. Like, if they did the tag,
Yeah,
I don't think they'll
yeah, if they
do
the
the
tag,
tag.
yes, I agree. If they do the tag,
I don't think they'll
I
do the tag. I don't think we're here yet at the tag. I think the tag happens before Seth walks away, but I don't
the
think we're
tag could
here.
be Backlash. The tag.
That's
could
what
be
I'm thinking.
Backlash.
But I don't
Yeah.
think we're here at the tag moment. And Backlash is in France, correct? Is that the one that's in France?
Uh, maybe.
So Xavier Woods almost got caught up in the ropes.
May 4th, 2024. So yes, and so I can see that.
Yes, I can see that too.
I can see that because especially if you do something like the bloodline kind of screws it up for Seth, right? Or something happens the next night, or whatever. But yeah, I'm sticking to a singles match now, but um, it's I think it's possible it could be Cody and The Rock night one.
I think
at some point, maybe not the main event, but at some point.
Did you?
Although probably the main event of night one.
Write down what we said for these bets.
No, I thought you did, so I never did. But mine was.
No.
I don't remember what yours was.
I thought I said Cody Rock but I thought I didn't say it.
I have it on video.
So it won. Yeah. Good point. Oh my God, I was having a breakdown.
I know mine was Rock, Cena, or right because my original theory was. My real original theory was Triple H and Rock were going to have some verbal sparring, and Triple H isn't going to be able to get into the match, so he's going to say, well, you know I can't, and I've got somebody who will, and out comes John Cena. I think the same scenario could happen with Cody, where, they do that, and Cody says, well, I got a friend who's willing to stand in because I've got the match the next night or whatever, and out comes John Cena or something. Like, I could see that too, but I'm thinking, it stays singles match, and maybe it is Rock and Cody, which could work, because, like I said, it could work in the sense of now you're putting Roman above The Rock for the test. He's the champion and whatever, and you're making Cody's climb that much harder because he's gonna have just had a war with the Bloodline the night before, and now he's got to do it all over again the next night to win the championship finally.
Yeah. That's true.
And then if he doesn't, then I give up and I don't know what to do.
So we'll have to go back. I think that was episode 20, right? That we talked about it?
Yeah, it was.
Alright, so we'll go back this week and we'll pan it out and see what it actually was. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I tossed it. So stupid me. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, so then let's just talk about what we think the rest of the card will be then. You get Becky and Rhea then, right? They're probably the second last match.
No. Well, I guess it depends on how they're categorized.
Well, if you're doing Rock and Roman on night one, and then, or if you're doing Cody and Rock on night one, and Cody and Reigns on night two, what matches do you put before those?
You likely put
Seth, right?
No. Right before it? No, I don't think so. Like, unless you're truly going to call them co-main events and go by that angle, you're going to put a let-up match there before that, right?
So what would it be?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's
would it be Orton and Paul?
A title match. No, I don't think that's a let-up match. I mean,
so then AJ and LA Knight then?
Maybe that. Maybe it's a tag team championship match, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, right? Like, my guess is it's a non-title match, but Orton, Paul probably isn't a let-up match because there'd be a lot to that one.
So here's what I have right now. So obviously, we talked about it. Cody Rock, Cody Reigns.
Yeah.
Rhea versus Becky. Bayley versus Io.
Yep.
Orton versus Paul.
Well, we're just guessing on those. We only know of 4.
No, but I'm just going off of these right now. Orton versus Paul. And AJ versus LA Knight. Just based on what we saw in the chamber.
Yep.
Probably got to throw the stupid Kabuki Warriors in there. Some night. They're gonna, right?
Probably be a kickoff show match again.
All right, let's hope so.
I mean, there's going to be more matches, right? Because how many matches have you said? 6?
6
over 2 nights. That's not. I mean,
no, that's not enough. But I'm just trying to piece it all together right now.
I assume there's a Jade match coming.
Oh shit! What did I forget? Seth versus Drew.
Oh, Seth McIntyre, yeah. Yeah. Rollins McIntyre. But, like, so.
So that's 7.
I mean, you're probably going to get 7 each night.
I was thinking at least 6. Yeah, I was thinking at least 6.
6 or 7 each night. So. We need 12 to 14 matches. And there's going to be some pre-show stuff, so. Are they doing. Do they do the Andre Giant? I know they do that pre-show a lot, but are they doing the Andre the Giant Royal Battle Royal at WrestleMania, or is that a SummerSlam event they do it at?
I thought it was SummerSlam.
I think it is SummerSlam. So, and that's usually pre-show too. Um, I mean, maybe Tiffany Stratton gets a match.
I was thinking she does. I just haven't pieced it together with who.
Gunther's probably involved somewhere. It sounds like they're setting up Jay versus Jimmy too.
Yeah, brother versus brother. Yep.
So
what's that? 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 5 and 5 each night. They probably throw Dom in somewhere, right?
Maybe.
Because Dom was supposed to have a chamber match with Brock.
Yeah.
So they probably
just weird to me.
Yeah. Well, because
Dom and Brock, like
yeah,
doesn't
no
make sense to me.
No, it's just like somebody got really high before they wrote out the card and was like, yeah, this will work. Let me see what rumors are out there. You know, I love a good rumor, Dan. I'm one for the tea. No pun intended.
You're one for the tea. Yeah. That a special kind of tea we're drinking tonight?
Well, what are the boxes that you sent me?
Yeah, well, I was wondering.
From Africa, yeah.
Blend or flavor
is. Creme brulee.
Oh, whoa.
Oolong tea. Yeah, no big deal, bud.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, no big deal. You're welcome. Let me find out.
Hey, there you go.
The way you treat me. You're welcome.
So, yeah, it says here, Dwight versus Styles and Orton versus Paul is expected. Oh, Uncle Dave, so that probably means it's wrong. Yeah, it's tough, man, right? Like, I'm trying to piece this together, and now it's just like, what do we put on before the cards actually get going? I'm trying to see here.
Yeah, they haven't. There's not a lot.
No, they've been good with it so far. Rhea versus, yeah. So, Reigns versus Cody, Seth versus Drew, Rhea versus Becky, Io versus Bayley. Yeah, so those are the 4 that we know now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. So, yeah. So we're spot on with cage side seats and with
Bleacher Report is saying they think there'll be a battle royal.
Okay.
Andre the Giant. So maybe it is a WrestleMania thing, but it's usually a pre-show thing. So unless they don't have a lot of pre-show stuff, because don't forget they're starting at 7 this year, right? They're not waiting until 8. So.
Oh no! So it is held part of WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah,
so I was wrong.
So I thought you were right too, though. But it's so there's a lot of people that go into that, right? And that could be. I still think it's pre-show. I still think that.
Yeah, no, that's a good pre-show, right? That's better than Kabuki Warriors. Now, do they have a women's version of that?
No. Awesome Truth versus the Judgment Day. That's something they've been teasing. That's possible. Bleacher Report is
okay
making that a rumor. I'm on an article for Bleacher Report with rumors based on what television has been hinting.
But then again, they just had Damian call out Gunther for the IC title. You don't think they have Damian cash in on Gunther?
I hope not. I hate they did that once before.
with Austin Theory
Theory traded in
for the
the
U.S. title.
I hated that. I hated that so much.
So what are we at now? 11? I think we're at 11.
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah.
So we would need one more to be. Well, if you count the pre-card, battle royale, that's 12 right there.
Well, I wasn't counting the pre-show, but I think you need 12 for the two main cards. Bleacher Report is also wondering if Randy and Logan would be a triple threat with Kevin. It's not for anything, but Kevin and Logan kind of went at it specifically in the chamber too.
Yeah, I think it's more likely Paul and Orton, and Kevin screws over Logan. Or it's a three-way. There's Orton, Paul, and KO, which I would not mind.
Yeah, that's why I just said that.
Okay, sorry.
That too.
Yeah, I would not mind that. So, yeah, I mean that's not a bad card, right?
Right. So your matches, with that being the card, your matches before. So if we're right about Awesome Truth versus Judgment Day tag team, then I would put that before a main event. Because
even with that for the tag titles.
Yeah, because R-Truth will make that fun.
Yeah.
And light. I don't expect them to win. I would think Judgment Day retains there.
See, I think Judgment Day goes into Mania Weekend dropping the tag titles, and that's what forces Damian to cash in because he's pissed he doesn't have a title.
Maybe, but do you think it would be they would drop to Miz and R-Truth?
Yep. Yeah, because the crowd loves those two. I don't think those two will get like a year and a half reign with the tag titles. But
no.
I definitely see them dropping to those two. Because you think about it, right? You have two of the best, most consistent workers that there probably have been in WWE history. In Truth and the Miz, right? So you can always count on them two to deliver. It's an easy transfer. Truth with the title, everybody will be eating that up. So it's like...
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I
don't know, so
then what would you put on... So where would you put Seth and Drew?
So I think I would put Seth and Drew and Rhea and Becky first on different nights.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think you want to really start off
with a bang.
Card hot. You put those two matches on either night, but probably Seth, Drew, night one, first match, right out the gate. Stop this freaking hot.
Would you switch out Rhea and Becky for Bayley and Io?
Mm-mm.
No, you would specifically have them.
Yeah, I don't think the Bayley and Io match.
Well, that's why I don't think it's going to be great. I think you could put it before the match. Yeah, go ahead.
Good, but like the story so far, and I know there's still time, but the story is just dumb. Right?
And that's why I'm calling that I don't think it's going to be great because the story doesn't bring anything to it.
Right. So I think that's a middle of the card on either night.
I think you could put that before a main event, and it just kind of cools down for everybody just to pick back up. I don't see an issue with that being before a main event. Because either way, how often... Yeah, but how often have you thought about Io having that title?
Not very, because she never freaking defends it.
Right, so it's not going to do anything.
This last week.
Right? Like, it's not going to do anything. The only thing it would overshadow Bayley if she wins. That's it.
That, and I just don't do it because it's two world championships in a row. But,
sure.
I just... Honestly, I hate to say it this way, but I just bury it in the middle. It's like third or fourth match of the night.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I was just trying to get...
Yeah, no. I mean, again,
creative with it
if
just
you're
because.
yeah, if you're putting it as if you're saying you're having co-main events, like if that's the route they want to go, then you end up putting those matches, the women's title matches, on before the both matches, but or before the true main events or whatever. But I don't think they're going to do that because they're really just making Cody Roman the main event. They keep saying it that way in the main event of WrestleMania. They're not saying like night one, night two. They're just saying the main event. So I don't even think they're necessarily calling night one's last match a main event as much as they're just calling it the last match of the night.
Correct.
And people will see it as a main event, but they're really building Cody Roman as the main event. And WrestleMania, even though it's over 2 days, is one long extension of a show.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Which they weren't doing before, and I think they are doing now.
Yeah, I get it. So, yeah, I mean, I think we have. I think Mania is going to be pretty good. You know, it's going to. On paper right now, it looks pretty damn good. I can even see them throwing Grayson Waller into this somehow for a match. Not. I mean, if you're going to keep pushing him, he needs to get back in the ring because he's an athlete, and that's what people like about him. Nobody really gives a crap about the Waller effect, so it's like, what are we doing here? So hopefully that happens. Do you think we see Braun in the Battle Royale, right?
Yeah, probably.
Do you think he takes that? Or Bronson Reed?
No, I think Braun Breaker, but
well, Bronson Reed was supposed to be in the chamber, supposedly.
Yeah.
But then, well, congratulations to Bronson because he was home because his wife had a baby. So.
Yeah.
I
think Braun Breaker probably wins it, and this time
I was trying to think
they make it a big deal, right? Because they've like sometimes they've made that a big deal, and then other times it's been like worthless, right? Like I don't know, did Mojo Rawley won it one year, right? And they did nothing with that.
No. He won it. Well, he also tested positive shortly after and was suspended, so I'm sure his behavior had nothing to do with it, Dan. Yeah, woo woo woo. Oh, I can't piss in a cup. So yeah, yeah, that's not bad.
I maybe I want to see Matt Cardona win it. Surprise entrance.
That would be cool.
Surprise entrant, and he wins it, and then like they could make something out of that if it's him.
He keeps saying that he can see himself coming back when the time is right. So I think what he means to say is when the dollar signs are right.
I mean, I would imagine the dollar signs have got to be right soon. Like, what
if he
higher profile does he have than now? You know, for them, and Triple H is not afraid of quote unquote indie lore, right?
No, like, but I don't even think it's that. I think it's the fact that Endeavor now is looking over the contracts. I think if Triple H was still in... See, you keep shooting that down, but I think it's true.
I do keep shooting it down because I think Nick Khan still has a ton of power, and Nick Khan...
Yeah, but it's easy for Nick Khan to be like, hey, you okay with this? And have to slide this down the table. So yeah, sure, he probably has a ton of power, but I'm still saying he's probably like, hey, you want to take a look at this and just tell me what you think? I don't know. I
think now that Vince is gone, I find that less and less to be likely, only because successful companies like Endeavor don't get into the weeds of little things of a wrestler's contract, or like what Dana wants to do with Conor McGregor, right? Like, they trust in those guys, and I think they...
No, and I think they gave Hunter everything he needs to pull this off, But I think Mania is going to be the first test on where they see the profits and what is actually like big money to them for a wrestling pay-per-view compared to what like UFC may bring in an event. I'm sure that the Australia pay-per-view, the Chamber did everything it was supposed to do gate-wise with the stadium. Got all the views on Peacock, got all the views at the conference, got all the views with everything. I'm sure they hit all of that. But it's a different beast for them to see what's going to go on in Mania, right? Like, that's a different animal. That's a week-long experience now. Like, that's kind of like Fight Week twice a year now. That's pretty much what it is, right? So, and then UFC that night is done and over with. Raw has, or WWE has Raw the following day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll be watching this on an 85-inch television. So we'll probably have to be.
Somebody lightly snoring in the corner, but yeah.
So we'll probably have to be buying the food, of course, for this.
I mean, that's okay.
Well, not okay, Dan, for an 85-inch TV. They could throw in some wings. The cheap bastards.
Well, we'll just invite your sister to come, and then we know.
yeah. Well, that could be misconstrued. That could be misconstrued the wrong way on the podcast. We'll know that getting paid for. Heyo.
Former special guest Kelsey Kill.
Yeah, the one and done. So yeah, I mean, was there anything else you want to talk about for Mania? There was a quick news story that I wanted to bring up to you just to share your thoughts on, but
yeah, nothing else on Mania. I mean, now we're gonna see, right? Starting tonight, hopefully, is what we see of what they're developing.
Yep. Agreed.
Now it's nothing next month, and beginning of April. That's it.
Yep.
What's the news story? Let's hear this.
Well, it's not anything crazy. I know you tune in the podcast just like I do, but it's kind of funny that Kevin Nash had to clarify his comments on his status with WWE and
I did see
not going to things. Oh,
I didn't listen. I didn't listen yet, but I saw the quote.
I didn't either. But so here he says he has to clear the air and explain why he's not attending. He turned down Sting's invitation to the Lash Mask due to his position with WWE. And I guess his speculation, the comments he gave, of course, gave probably Uncle Dave and everybody that's wrong over there speculation that he's on the payroll. Which technically, if he's a WWE Legends contract, he's on payroll, right?
I do believe he has a Legends contract.
So it's technically not wrong, but it's like, it's not active payroll. It's just probably the one lump sum payment a year or something. Like,
I think what's happened is what a Legends contract means and restricts has changed over the years. I think it used to restrict them a lot.
Yeah.
And then now I think it's more related to merchandise than anything else.
Yes, I agree. They probably get a bigger cut from that. So he said...
Well, and allows the company to keep doing it. Right?
Correct. Yeah, keep printing all that NWO stuff.
And all their cameos on their documentaries and, stuff like that, right?
So he clarified that he never said he's on payroll. What I said was I'm a WWE guy. I can't have a picture of me in a crowd and underneath it says is all elite. I just can't have it. It doesn't work for one of the closest fucking friends is Paul Levesque. As much as I love Steve, aka Sting, and I know he'll only have one last match, I will watch it, we will talk about it, I just won't. I haven't been to WrestleMania, a Raw, a SmackDown, or any of the other pay-per-views. I haven't been to any events. I don't want to go to any place and be around a bunch of people, let alone wrestling people. I just don't want to do that. I'm a hermit. I am a hermit, and that's it. Going to the gym the other day, the place was packed. I just walked right out and said I'll go somewhere else. Or I'll go someplace else. So, which is funny because Kevin Nash and I share similar thoughts on the world right now. It's crazy. We're at a day where like he has to like there was enough controversy attacking him or bothering him that he had to come out and say this, right? Like what?
I'm surprised that it bothered him that much.
No,
to say it.
but that's for something like that to bother Kevin that much. It shows how much he was probably getting on Twitter and through the messages and everything, right? Because he's not a guy to take a small thing and just.
Well, and I think a lot of it was that the hate was going actually more towards WWE than it was him, because after the first set of comments, people thought that meant WWE wasn't allowing him to go, because there was a lot of like memes of like how Tony let Billy Gunn go to the Hall of Fame induction, right? Like, and Tony obviously doesn't stop guys from going with their significant others, right? We've talked about it with Buddy Murphy and a few others, right? Now, so I think when Kevin originally said, I can't go, I'm a WWE guy, people thought, oh, WWE told him he can't go.
So, for instance, if you put in Kevin Nash...
obviously isn't true.
Right.
You know, they let people go to Ric Flair's last match.
So if you put in Kevin Nash, not allowed plus Sting, you have cage side seats 6 days ago. WWE wouldn't allow Kevin to attend Sting's last match. And then you have here on the wrestling forum, Kevin Nash not allowed to be at Sting's last match. Page 5 of whatever friggin' article they have. Jesus Christ. So, I mean, and then WONF4W, which I'm surprised they have it. They're usually pretty good. But they posted too that WWE won't allow. So it was definitely something that the dirt sheets and everybody in their parents' basement eating Hot Pockets felt the urge to run with. And obviously they were wrong. I'm just surprised I didn't see Uncle Meltzer here talking about this. So, yeah, it's just stupid, right? Because he's really not one to take something small and let it just blow him up. Like, he handles everything pretty realistically. Like, after all the terrible stuff he's been through in the past couple of years. Like, he's not one that you see gets fed up and just explodes, right? Like, so you know they must have been getting a ton of crap, right? Like, a ton. On something so stupid. Like, but then once again, it...
In fairness, though, did you see the quote from his podcast?
Did he say WWE would not allow?
Well, let me read it to you, and you tell me. So he said, so the quote is, he asked me to be a part of it, he being Sting, and I just said that, you know, with my positioning with WWE, I couldn't even be, even if I went into the crowd, it would be, you know? I think he wanted me to be there because I was just one of the guys who has been there with him for most of his run. I think he was disappointed. I mean, I was disappointed. I asked WWE, you know when you ask and there's that 3-second pause? It's like when you're on the road and you're like, hey, babe, we're at Fort Wayne. I'm going to go to Stewie's Strip Joint. You got a problem with that? And then nothing. So, in fairness, he did, like, infer that he asked, and he got a long pause back from whomever he asked, you know?
So...
Which is confusing a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I guess for people with an IQ that's not over 100. When he said, like, he called and talked... Yeah, you're probably 80, bud. I'm going to be honest with you. High 80s.
But anyway.
High 80s. I'll give you high 80s. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I can see...
You ask,
so
it infers that you needed permission.
Right, and I can see how that's confusing, and I'm not really bashing them, but if you've listened to 83 Weeks at all, when when Kevin says he spoke to WWE, he means he spoke directly to Hunter. I don't take it as, like, he's, like, asked, like, a WWE official or somebody at Endeavor. He probably just said, Hunter, what do you think about this? And then Hunter is probably trying to tell him a way, like he explained to us what he really meant. So it's probably more of a conversation between friends. He probably just didn't phrase it properly when it originally came out on the podcast, I guess.
Well, that's fine, but then that's on him.
Yeah, and if you let me finish, I just said that. Jesus, wow.
I did let you finish.
A lot of botches at AEW, and all of a sudden a little bit of uptight.
You're such an ass.
So,
yeah, I don't know. I just listen in this week's podcast. Like,
and Dutch Mantel did a video 2 days ago. That should be good.
What?
Of him responding to WWE blocking Kevin. I'm sure that's not racist at all.
Oh, well, anyway.
Yeah, it's Dutch Mantel.
I mean, on this week's explanation, the second part, I totally understand. He doesn't want to go anywhere. He doesn't want to be around people. Period. Let alone wrestling.
Well, just
the first part, I think, is a little BS because, if you're a close friend with Sting and he wants you to be a part of it, I think you suck it up for Sting, regardless of you being you can be a WWE guy and still go support this guy, right? I don't know. But the other part of it, I totally understand. At the end of the day, it's really he just doesn't want to leave his house.
Yeah, I mean, well, think of how much he's been through, right? We've heard him how many times on the 83-week podcast when he gets asked, Kevin, how are you? He says, well, I didn't roll over and put the gun in my mouth this morning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I just think people need to give him a little bit more of a benefit of a doubt based on what he's been through and not just jump on this is all what I was trying to say. But I get it. I can see how it's confusing. But it's just a good title for the dirt sheets to run with, and I'm surprised Uncle Dave didn't say anything about it. Or if he did, who gives a shit? Because I wasn't checking anyways on Uncle Dave. So, yeah. I mean, was there anything else you wanted to talk about on episode 21 there, Daniel? Any AEW stuff?
I haven't even watched, and Revolution is this weekend, and I'm probably not going to watch it.
And we're a couple weeks closer to...
going to pay for it.
Oh, that's right, because you steal cable. Yeah, that's right.
Steal cable.
All right. If it's a server from Hawaii and you don't know how you got the server, that's stealing, Dan.
Nobody said it's a server from Hawaii, or that I didn't know how I got it.
Okay. Anyways, thief. So, yeah, that's it.
Because all that password sharing you do for your streaming accounts isn't stealing either.
Oh, no, I don't share any of my passwords.
Oh, really?
None.
You mean Big J's watching Peacock with commercials again? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, he didn't even install mine. He didn't even take mine.
You shared it. You did share it.
Yeah, for him to see what it's like not being poor. But yeah, so that's episode 22. We'll get back on our bets. Since Dan's gonna flip flop on this more than he did on January 6th. So we'll go from there.
God, you're such an asshole.
Hey, whoa, kid friendly.
No, not today. I'm putting the E. Putting the E up.
Don't put that R on the end of it. Don't put the R on the end.
No, I'm putting the E up on this episode, explicit material, because you not only are you lying about my political alliances, you said I had an IQ in the 80s. So today
I said high 80s. High 80s. That's very good. 75% of the country is not up there.
Anyway,
we know 45% of them. So that's Botch Wrestling Podcast episode 22. We'll be back 4 or 5 days from now. This is the quickest that we'll probably respond to ever. So enjoy it. Adios. Dan, stay out of trouble.